In Guild Wars 2, there's a massive difference in power level between having boons and not having them. To succeed, each DPS player needs access to permanent quickness, alacrity, fury, and 25 stacks of might. These are the relevant supports. One druid provides 25 might to 10 people and fury to 5 people. One support chronomancer or quickness firebrand or heal firebrand provides quickness to 5 people, and the firebrand builds also provide fury to 5 people. One alacrity renegade provides alacrity to 10 people. One banner warrior brings banner of discipline and banner of strength, giving a big stat boost to 10 people. Most classes have some sort of fury self-generation. Some DPS classes also incidentally generate fury for their fellow party members. If you are not running a heal firebrand, you may want to have a second healer. Which class that healer plays is basically irrelevant. All of them are good choices. Whenever I set 4-5 people, that means the skill that generates the boon has a target limit of 5. If there are more than 5 targets, including yourself, in the area of effect of your boon skill, the game will always prioritize the players in your subgroup. This means that it is hard or even impossible to give boons to people outside of your subgroup. Now, you may think that it is therefore a good idea to put everyone together in one big 10-man group, so everyone can target everyone, right? No, you do not want to put all people together in one group, since those skills still only affect 5 people. And then, boon application will be mostly randomized. One person getting too much quickness, one person getting none at all, for example, instead of it being very consistent. Quick side note on healing. A healing skill will ignore targets at full health. This makes it possible to heal targets outside your subgroup if some members of your group, for example yourself, are already at full health. The easiest solution is to create 2 subgroups of exactly 5 people that cover all the 5-man boons for themselves, namely quickness and fury. For 10-man boons, might from the druid, alacrity from the renegade, that's irrelevant, since those boons will go to 10 people anyway. Quick side note on healing part 2. Since healing is kind of 10-man, you do not need to have a healer in both subgroups. However, it can still make sense to do that to spread healing more evenly in situations where damage pressure is really high. If you are just starting out, put a healer in each subgroup. It may not always be the optimal choice, but it's never bad. So let's put this together and imagine a hypothetical support setup. 1 quickness chronomancer, 1 heal firebrand, 1 druid, 1 alacrity renegade and 1 banner warrior. Put quickness chronomancer in one group, put heal firebrand in the other group. This covers quickness for each subgroup and fury for the firebrand group. Put the druid with the quickness chronomancer. This covers fury for the chrono group and puts a healer in both groups. Since both banners and alacrity work on 10 people, banner warrior and alacrity renegade can go into either group. Could you follow so far? Great, because it is going to get a bit more complicated. Power classes do high damage because they have a critical strike chance of 100% in their build. However, not all classes can easily reach that 100%. Some need a little extra help. The druid, and also power soul beast, passively provides a special 5-man buffs, spotter, to the people in his subgroup, which adds roughly 5% crit chance. The following power DPS classes generally want spotter: power elementalist, banner warrior, if played with power, and power chronomancer. There are some build variations of other classes that also require spotter, but if they are playing that, they should talk to you directly. If a class that wants spotter can't get spotter, for example because all slots are already taken, they can use buff food that gives them 100 extra precision. This food is very cheap to buy on the trading post, and spotter-reliant DPS players are generally expected to carry it around at all times. On the other hand, there is Assassin's Presence, AP from Alacrity Renegade. Like Spotter from the Druid, it gives its buff passively to the people in its subgroup. Plus 150 ferocity, critical strike damage. We want this buff to go to as many power DPS classes as possible. Let's return to our hypothetical support setup. So far we have placed the Chrono and the Druid in one group and the Heal Firebrand in the other group. We have not placed the Banner Warrior yet. Since the Banner Warrior needs Spotter to crit cap, it's a good idea to place it with the Druid. Now group 1 consists of Quickness Chrono, Heal Druid and Banner Warrior. If we were to add the Alacrity Renegade to that group, this would mean that its powerful Ferocity buff would go to classes with low to medium damage output. Therefore it makes sense to place the Alacrity Renegade with the Heal Firebrand instead. And we next plan to add as many power DPS classes as possible to the Renegade's subgroup. As a next step, add all power DPS classes that do not require Spotter to the Renegade and Heal Firebrand subgroup. This includes Dragon Hunters, Soul Beasts, Holosmiths and Daredevils. Now we are left with Spotter-reliant power DPS classes and Condi DPS classes. We have not talked about Condi DPS until now. That's because Condi DPS does not care that much about crit capping, so you can just fill empty spots with them and they will generally be happy. To have an easy time organizing the rest, first put the Spotter-reliant power DPS classes with the Druid and then put the Condi DPS classes wherever there is space left. And you're done. Side note. Plus 150 Ferocity is actually slightly stronger than the plus 100 Precision from Spotter for power DPS classes. So even if you are a Spotter-reliant class, getting AP instead and then swapping to Precision Food to make up for the difference is a DPS gain for you. Side note. If you have to put Condi DPS classes with the Renegade, you can ask if any Spotter-reliant power DPS player prefers to change their setup to get AP instead of Spotter. Now let us put everything together that we've learned so far. Here is an algorithm to organize your subgroups. Step 1. Separate the two quickness sources. Step 2. If one of those quickness sources is also a healer, put the Druid in the other group. If neither is a healer, put the Druid with a non-Firebrand. If both are Firebrands, put the Druid wherever you want. Step 3. Put a potential second healer into the group that does not contain the Druid. Step 4. Put the Banner Warrior with the Druid. Step 5. Put the Alacrity Renegade into the non-Druid group. Step 6. Add power DPS classes that do not require Spotter into the Alacrity Renegade group. That is Dragon Hunters, Holosmiths, Daredevils and Soul Beasts. Step 7. Add Spotter-reliant DPS classes into the Druid group. Step 8. Put Condition DPS classes wherever there is space left. Step 9. Swap around some DPS classes if you want to optimize. Add more power DPS classes to the Renegade subgroup, which may require some gear and food changes if they rely on Spotter, in exchange for Condi DPS classes. I cannot hope to cover everything in this video. There are many more things to talk about, and with time you will realize how to optimize some more by yourself. But here are a few more advanced tips and tricks. Power Soul Beasts also bring Spotter. Put a Power Soul Beast with the Renegade so both subgroups now have Spotter. From then on, ignore the Spotter-reliant prefix on all of the power DPS classes. Dragon Hunters require the boon Retaliation to crit cap. They generate some of that boon for their own subgroup. Alacrity Renegade also generates the boon. It is therefore a good idea to keep all Dragon Hunters together and put them together with the Renegade in one group. Power Soul Beasts bring one Wolf Pack. This is an extremely strong 4-second buff to their subgroup that rewards fast-hitting power DPS classes. Dragon Hunters and Weavers are extremely strong with it, but almost all power DPS classes can still get good value out of it. On the raid bosses Matthias, Adina and Mursat Overseer, you may want to bring a Boon Thief, which will cover all boons except Alacrity. Boon Thief applies its boons to 10 people, so the quickness and fury related restrictions from above no longer apply. This allows you to have a lot more freedom in subgroup organization. You don't even need to make 5-person groups anymore. Be as creative as you want with your subgroups. There is a lot of "it depends" at that point. If fury generation in the non-druid group is an issue, Storm Spirit, the active part, from druid can provide some fury to 10 people. Battle Standard from warrior can do the same. Some classes also have shout skills that provide fury, for example Feel My Wrath from the Dragon Hunter. If fury generation, on the other hand, is an issue in the druid group, tell him to learn how to play.